a longtime Posher who is constantly inspired by the Poshmark community. Especially these women, you all in the audience, you all amaze me. Let me introduce these gals here. We've got Jacqueline, who's originally from the East Coast, now calls LA home. Cindy, who hails from Arizona. Savannah, a mama of 3 littles from right here in the Bay Area. Kelly, a stay-at-home mom from Idaho. And Alexandra, a 20-something from Arkansas. So it's never been more clear that the women on Poshmark are changing the fashion industry and paving their own paths for success. Whether you're selling items from your own revolving closet, scoping out killer consignment or resale deals, or sourcing brand new inventory wholesale, you each play a role in this revolution. The 5 lovely ladies I have the pleasure of sitting beside are proof that there is no one formula to success on Poshmark. They've agreed to share their stories with all of us today. Should we get started? Yes. All right, so first things first, how did you guys get your start on Poshmark? What was the tipping point of when you turned it into a business? Why don't you start, Jacqueline?
I started Poshmark initially with just some personal items, and previously I had an online boutique, so I had some old inventory just collecting dust, and I figured it would be a great platform to use. And once I sort of sold out of everything, I was asked, will we get new items? So that was kind of like the turning point where I thought, oh, I could actually start my business again on Poshmark, and that's sort of how it all happened.
Awesome. How about you, Cindy?
It started out with me, I was going to do this event, and I had this Louis Vuitton crossbody bag for cell phones, and I went to find it, and I never used it before, and I got it, and it was for a flip phone. So I was like, what am I going to do with this thing? And I went to my office, and at that time I ran a call center with 70 girls. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? And one girl goes, put it on Poshmark. I'm like, Poshmark? What's Poshmark? So she got my phone, she downloaded the app. I had my assistant put it on. She said, if you ever look at the bottom of my closet, you'll see the original photo. It's hideous. And we took the picture, and the bargaining began, you know, and that's how it happened. And I went to my first Poshfest. Congratulations to all of you ladies who this is your first Poshfest. What a great year you picked to come. I went to my first Poshfest and I started asking questions because I seen that people sold small, medium, large in closets, and I was thinking to myself, well, I don't have small, medium, large in my closet. And started asking questions and then opened up my second closet, and the beginning of this year I opened up my third closet, and I do wholesale.
Awesome. Savannah, what about you?
I came across an ad on Facebook in August of 2012, so a little over 2 years ago. I had delivered my son the month before, and then twins the year before that. So I had babies, and my size grew from like a 0 to an 8 very quickly. Nothing in my closet fit me. I downloaded the app. I enlisted about 10 items, and I sold them pretty quickly. And so in about 2 months, I started taking items from friends and family to consigns. That's a great way to start. For me, it was a great way to start because I didn't have to pay anything out of pocket. And within a month after that, I started shopping with the intent to resell.
Great. Kelly?
So I kind of the same thing as Savannah. I actually found a Poshmark ad on Facebook one day, and I have an entrepreneurial spirit, and so I had just had a baby, 6 months before, and so I was thinking, hey, if I can bring in some extra income for diapers and baby expenses and things like that, that'd be awesome. So I did start selling some things from my closet, but I also did buy some items just kind of at like clearance closeout prices as well to see if that would work, and it did. And it kind of took me a while to find out my niche, what things sold better. I personally sell more Michael Kors and shoes and tops, and so I kind of have strayed away from what doesn't sell for me. So I think though the tipping point, or when I realized it was kind of a real business and not just like a hobby, it was about a year in. I had co-hosted a couple parties, I had become a suggested user, and I was going from selling 1 to 2 things a week to multiple things a day. So just vamping up from there. So I always dreamed about having a successful home-based business and be a stay-at-home mom. I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So this has truly Poshmark has made my dreams become a reality. So it's super cool.
Awesome. And Alexandra?
I also started in August of 2012, so I've been on the app a little over 3 years, and I was just scrolling through Instagram. I think I was in my bed at this point. So Maria, I haven't seen her today, but I follow her on Instagram and she's a fashion blogger. And she posted, hey, you know, I use Poshmark to sell my items. So I was like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. I'll download it, whatever. So I downloaded it. It was kind of my part-time hobby in college for a couple of years. And then in, I think, May of 2014, I quit my corporate marketing job to Posh full-time. So that's what I'm doing full-time now.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So Jacqueline, you mentioned you used to have an online boutique. How does that compare and contrast to Poshmark?
It compares so much. Basically, with my online store, you know, the one-woman show, just as I am now on Poshmark, but you don't have the connections that you have as far as like building your relationships with your buyers, and also just having feedback from your buyers as well is something that you don't get from a traditional store. And also the exposure that Poshmark gives you. You know, it's so hard as an e-commerce site to have people come stop by your store. And it was a game changer for me. The Poshmark has, you know, you have access to all the members of the community, and you know, you can get so much exposure, and that was definitely the key for me.
That's a great point. Thanks for sharing that. So now that you all have kind of grown beyond selling things from your closet, where do you mainly get your inventory?
Well, we source our inventory 3 different ways. One way is wholesale, which I think we're going to kind of talk about later in the panel. Another way that we source our inventory is through actually like major department stores. And when I say we, I'm talking about me and my husband. But major department stores and discount stores. And so a lot of you guys probably know that these stores do like semi-annual clearance sales twice a year. Usually beginning of September after school starts, and then into January, beginning of February, kind of after the Christmas sales and the New Year sales and stuff like that. So my husband and I actually set money aside for these 2 times of the year to go into these stores and just kind of stock up. And I've definitely been known to call the managers of these stores, and I just tell them, you know, who I am and what my story is. And they are more, I mean, they want me to come in. You know, they're like, yes, please, we're purging this stuff. We need to make room for new inventory. So that's a great way we get inventory. And the third way is through consignment and secondhand stores. And when I say secondhand stores, I'm talking about places kind of like Plato's Closet, or local places like that, places that take clothes in for cash, because they're generally going to have things that are more generally on trend, more fashionable, things that are in season, and they don't want to mark it up too high because, you know, they want a good turnaround. So I've had a lot of luck in secondhand stores in the area that I live. I personally just don't have luck in thrift stores just because of, I don't know, where I live. It's just not, I end up scrounging around and get frustrated. So yeah, so those are the 3 ways that we source inventory.
For me personally, I am not a wholesale girl, and I actually, like, I didn't get a license or anything, but I messed around with buying wholesale for like a minute. And I tried to list a few things, and it's just, first of all, it's not fun for me, and second of all, I just don't want to sell wholesale items. I'm like more of a deal hunter, and I'm obsessed with deals, so like that's my passion. So I personally will never wholesale probably unless, you know, some miraculous things happens over the next few years, but deals are kind of where I am right now, and so that involves me shopping every single day of my life and deal hunting. And I also work with a local boutique that sells designer type items, so like Vince and Joie and those kind of like niche brands. So I'm not selling boutique items, I'm selling designer items, but I'm actually having a partnership with them. So that's another way I kind of source inventory.
For me, I've always done wholesale, and when I first started doing my e-commerce store, I only did contemporary brands or brand labels. And I knew that with Poshmark, I would have to change my business model around to kind of appeal to the masses. So I started selling mass budget, you know, price items, and that sort of kind of worked for me. But my thing is, I always have to find items that look and have like a feel of a designer brand, and that's very key as far as like fabric quality and things like that. Sure. So I think that's sort of kind of how I transitioned to Poshmark.
So Savannah, you're kind of a consignment rock star. What do you look for in places when you're sourcing inventory?
I do consignment with friends and family. I've kind of branched out to their contacts as well. I don't take a huge percentage of that cut. I feel like if I take a smaller cut, there's more incentive for people to continue giving me items when they know they're going to get something for their items. I also shop thrift. I shop 3 to 4 times a week here in the Bay Area. I have about 20 stores I try to alternate monthly through. I also buy overstock from stores that get overstock from department stores, either returns, floor samples, things like that. So like Sandra mentioned, I really do like finding those items that are kind of hard to find, and I have kind of developed a client base around coming to me looking for certain brands, certain style, and especially doing bundles, so styled items, that they come back for several times a month to buy kind of something that lasts them through the next few months.
Sure.
Okay, and so for those of you who are doing wholesale, how do you source your inventory?
I've had previous relationships with some vendors, but as I said, because I switched up my model, it was basically going into the actual manufacturer and looking at the apparel that they carry. It was a lot of trial and error in the beginning, to see which vendors I liked the most, and I think it's sort of, kind of stay with that.
How about you, Cindy?
I go to trade shows. I go to 2 a year, and they're in Las Vegas. It's called Magic. But I really like the show that's before Magic. It's called Off Price. A lot of people don't dig it. I love it. And that's where I find treasures at good prices, because it's all about finding your price point. What do you want your price point to be when you're buying wholesale? Because my first year I went, I bought everything that I loved, and I lost a lot of money. And what I love doesn't necessarily sell. So it's all been a learning process, and if you're new to this, just remember that to have fun, because it is a process, and you're gonna make mistakes. I've made a ton of mistakes, so I've learned. I love buying wholesale, and I've learned to be able to, how to go to the people I'm buying wholesale, how to wheel and deal. I kill it. And there's lots of moving pieces when you're buying wholesale. I'm telling you, and I've mentored a lot of women at these trade shows of exactly how to approach wholesalers and how to what to say, because you could even get cut deals on shipping. Because once you start having shipping added to your merchandise being shipped to you, you could actually add a whole $1 to each piece you're buying. So there's a science to it. So I go to trade shows. I love them. I go twice a year.
Thanks. So what do you say to the vendors?
I'll go to them and I'll say, hi, my name is Cindy. How are you? I don't necessarily always tell them I sell e-commerce, because it's not really the most favorite thing that they want their brands to be on. I just fill them out. You don't have to tell your whole story to them all at once. Hi, I'm Cindy, and I'm looking into buying some smocks this year, or sweaters, or feathers. And what do you have available? And is it available to buy now? And how much do I have to buy in this category? Do I have to buy? And, is there a set limit? Do I have to buy $200 worth or $300 worth? And do I have to give you my credit card right now? And do you approximately know how much the shipping's going to be when you ship, and when are you going to ship it? And do you think that you could cut me some kind of a deal on the shipping? Because that's awfully expensive. And have that face.
So Cindy, you're kind of a deal hunter yourself.
Yes, I'm a deal hunter, but there's ways that we women are good at it. We really are. So.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I have something on that too. So I've never been to a trade show before, and so for those of you that you're not going to travel and go to a trade show, there are options to look at wholesale online. I know specifically there's a website called fashiongo.net, and there's just hundreds and hundreds of vendors on this website. And the good thing about this is you're not just at one manufacturer's website, so you see a wide variety of items that you could potentially put on your Poshmark closet. But what I would suggest is that you make sure and then read the customer ratings and reviews for that vendor, because you want to make sure that you have a high quality item in your closet. So have a little bit of caution there. But we've had good success so far with using that website, and I know there's probably a lot of other ones too. But fantastic tips.
So in many ways, curating your inventory is like being a top-notch stylist. How does that role factor into your business?
For me, I am all about keeping up with trends and trying to keep my inventory something that, even if I wouldn't necessarily wear it, something I would like to see on somebody else. And so I focus a lot on, trying to curate things that I think are beautiful and that I can take beautiful photos of. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about, you know, me expanding and things like that, but I'm so hands-on with every single item. Like, I want to personally curate it myself, and I want to make sure that what I'm selling is something that I think other people would love and something that I love personally. So for me, it's all about, you know, my brand personally and coming to me for the specific things that I'm finding myself.
You know, I have so many listings in my closet. I have such a wide variety of customers that are coming to me. So I do have, you know, size 00 to size 3+. I have all sorts of different styles. If I think it's a good quality item, I'll add it to my closet. So yeah, I mean, if it was just my own personal style, it would probably be a lot of skinny pants and loose-fitting shirts. So I feel like I do have to broaden the scope a little bit, you know. So yeah, I have a lot of fun kind of being that stylist for other people and being their personal shopper and stuff. I take a lot of joy in that.
So what's been the biggest challenge you've faced while growing your business on Poshmark?
For me, the biggest challenge, I think, is having organizational skills, be it bombarded with messages every day, is just keeping up. I think also keeping a log of some of your customers is also a good idea to have, so you can build that relationship with them.
What tools are you using to do that?
Just mainly like my notes, just Mac, like computers, basic stuff, you know. But at least, you know, just to have a little log of that. And inventory control is something that's also quite challenging sometimes.
Yeah. Cindy, how about you?
Well, inventory control, mine is so Mickey Mouse, it's embarrassing. If somebody would come up, some software like Manish, if you're software guys, just have some free time, would come up, just kidding, would come up with a software program for Poshmark inventory, I know all of us would buy it, right? That is one of my biggest challenges. It really upsets me when I sell something and I don't know, I go to look for it and I no longer have it. It's embarrassing to me. Then I got to answer, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have it. You know, would you like to pick something else for the same price? And I do that. And another challenge that I find with myself is time. I've learned, I hired me a business coach to help me, and she really helped me lift my business up in my closets about 1.5 years ago. And she really helped me prioritize my time. And when I say that, I have it in, if you looked in my phone right now, Anna's was going beep, beep, beep when we're doing the speed dating, or the speed, the speed thing. And that's kind of like how mine is. Every Wednesday at 6 o'clock, it's time to take Poshmark pictures. So everything has a time slot in my phone, because if I don't have it that way, I won't do it. I'll get busy. I'll go to yoga, I gotta go to the grocery store, or, you know, I get busy. So time is very important to me, and I do that.
Savannah, what challenges are you facing?
For me, when I made the switch over to make it my business from home, taking care of 3 children and trying to run this closet was not easy to do. I tell my friends that want to start selling, it's not for the faint of heart. If you can't manage yourself time-wise, there's no one to clock in with at 8 or 9 a.m. You have to motivate yourself to get up, to get out of bed. I work before my kids wake up, I work when they sleep, and then once they go to bed is when I do all my listings, my shipping. I've hired someone to help me manage my inventory, update my closet multiple times a week. Once you get to 1,000 or more items, to just update that in itself takes a lot of time. And for me, like you mentioned, you have to maximize your time. What are you doing? What are you best at? That's what you should apply yourself to. The other things that basically anybody can do, like ship an item or update inventory in a spreadsheet, delegate that to somebody else if you're able to do that. So that's basically been the biggest challenge. The potential is huge, but it's about using yourself the best way to maximize that potential. And each of you guys can do it if you just kind of sit down and you said what kind of section times out of the day to just do that, or else life gets busy and it doesn't get done.
Yeah, mine's kind of the same thing, 2 kids at home. So I know that I went to Poshfest for the first time last year, and afterwards I just had tons of notes to go through. So I spent 2 or 3 hours and I wrote down all my ideas, my aspirations, my dreams, just everything that I wanted to accomplish in Poshmark, which obviously is impossible to do everything. So then I picked like 2 or 3, maybe 4 of those things just to go 100% in, instead of trying to juggle 10 to 15 things going 25%. So I have to have kind of like times to check back to that and just be like, okay, Kelly, you know what, just move forward with that. Yeah, maybe you could be successful in that, but you know, you have a family to take care of and things like that. So just the time management, it's hard, it's a battle, but just focus. I mean, for me personally, I just try to focus on a few things and not, you know, the whole thing.
Challenges for me, I think, are probably scaling with the way that I source inventory, because with not wanting to do wholesale and sticking to what I think that I'm good at, and the thing that I want to do is to find everything. And so for me to scale that big enough for me to be doing it full time was a huge challenge. And I mean, if you know, I remember talking to Manish last year, and he's like, you should look into doing wholesale so you can scale. And my dad says the same thing to me a lot. And I'm trying to figure out a way I can do this, what I'm doing now, on the scale that people are doing it wholesale. And I want to be able to do that. And that was the biggest challenge for me when I left my job, to say, I'm going to find enough stuff. I'll spend all day if I have to finding enough stuff to make it doing what I'm doing. So,
Sure. Some great things that you guys have mentioned here. It's really great to hear how you guys are handling it, and I know everyone in the audience can relate to at least one of you. So how are you guys using features in the Poshmark app to bring you success?
I personally really love the offer feature. For me, when it came out, it really weeded out people that were not serious. Of course, you still get offers that you accept and then the funds aren't there, which is always unfortunate, but at least that price isn't published on the listing. So if you guys are new to Poshmark, before, if someone were to offer you, it would be on the listing till the end of time, and someone offers you $50 for a $75 item and you say sure, and then they disappear. You know, 3 months later, someone else will come, well, you take 40 now, you would have taken 50 back then. And so this really keeps items, kind of keeps those prices classified and just known to you and the buyer, so that's really helped. And also, I don't know if you guys really know the full importance of when you do update your closet, not only is it being pushed to the top of your closet and then pushed to all your followers and then potentially to their followers, but it's being bumped up in that brand's category. So if someone brand new to Poshmark downloads it and they search free people boot, size 9, you can have the most awesome boot, but if you haven't updated in days or weeks, it's not, the likelihood that they're even going to stumble upon that is so slim. And so it's really important to keep your stuff current, so someone brand new or just any shopper on there, they will see your item right at the top of that. So those are 2 features I really like, new updates in the last year or so.
one feature I really like is the price drop feature, which I know everybody is like so stoked when things go on sale, or at least I am. But for me, it's more about, I'm not selling in bulk, so I'm not selling a massive amount of items, but my markup per item is probably more than others. And so when I drop that price, I'm still making a huge margin on each item, but they're still getting an even better deal. And it also brings people back to the listing that, maybe otherwise would have forgotten, oh, I really like those shoes and I completely forgot I liked them. So just dropping it, 10% or having a massive sale just brings so much attention back to the listing, and for me, just works really well.
I love the bundle feature. I really do. And what I like about the bundle feature is that when somebody buys something and it shows you both pieces, and then you could go back and I could see the sizes. But I like the other feature that says other things that you might like, and the other things that you might like are always my stuff, right there. So it's really cool, and I like how they've made it where the photos are, you kind of just swipe and you can see the photos of what's in the closet instead of, get in, get out, get in, get out. It just swipes with that little arrow thing. I think that's beneficial and useful.
I like the bundle feature as well, and I also like the fact that because they sell in bulk, I create a lot of bundle reserve listings for people, and you normally don't want to do it with someone that you haven't worked with before, but once you build a relationship and know that they're always able to come back to those items, I think that's very important for me, and I can just build my bundles up and then just sell it that way. It's a great feature.
One thing I just thought about this morning about that feature, I don't know if it's possible or not I mean, it would be cool. So for example, for me, I have 15% off 2 or more items. But if someone were to buy 5 or 10 items, obviously I would give them a bigger discount. People that are new to Posh don't necessarily know that. So they'll go through and they'll bundle like 5 items and they'll just, they'll check out. Or I'll message them, let me know if you want a better price, and they'll just check out. So, I mean, in one way it's good, but then also, let's say someone is looking at 5 items, but that 15% isn't enough for them. I wish there was a way to put like 3 items, 20%, or just another option so people do know they can get a better deal, and I'm not always tagging them or messaging them each time.
Awesome ideas. Thanks for sharing that. So, Kelly, you're using Instagram to help drive sales. What techniques are you using?
So I kind of really just kicked off Instagram after Poshfest last year. Amanda really inspired me in the social selling workshop or whatever. And so I really wanted to see if I could bring in some sales through Instagram. So I have to be completely honest, I think that I was doing it wrong for a really long time, like even up to just recently. Every post that I was putting on Instagram was something for sale. It was almost kind of an ad, for my Poshmark closet. And so since I'm super interested in Instagram, I've been doing a lot of research and reading about it. And if you look at big brands and Instagram influencers, they're not posting just like this certain product for sale. They're actually doing behind the scenes, they're doing the day-to-day runnings of their life because, Poshmark, you do get to see the user behind their closet, but Instagram is supposed to be that window into their life, maybe see their kids, what they had for lunch, things like that. And so I'm going to be changing how I do my Instagram, and I actually have more likes and more comments when I do things that are more behind the scenes, and then the sales can come. You know what I mean? That I'm just going to try to be more like authentic and real in my posts, and then maybe just do like 50% of listings from my closet. And then when I do upload or post a picture of a product, I make sure and use relevant hashtags. So hashtag the brand, maybe what the item is. And I remember Amanda saying that more than 7 hashtags can kind of be like a spam, be more spam. But if you do up to 7 hashtags, it's going to bring more traffic to that photo, or potential traffic to that photo. So that, and then I might even write a comment under my post and just be like, if you mention this post, I'll give you another 30% off or something kind of huge because I'm trying to bring in that traffic and those sales from Instagram. So I do feel like there is just great potential in sharing your closet to Instagram and Pinterest and stuff like that.
That's great. What a great tip. Thank you for sharing that. So you've all kind of amassed quite a following on Poshmark. Would you say that's the key to success?
One of them? No, not at all. I think that there are people who kill it on Poshmark who have like not even, like 25% of the amount of following that I have, 10% of the amount of following I have. I'm just gonna give Stephanie a shout out because I love her closet and she kills it and I stalk her all day, every day, and she probably already knows this, but she has substantially less followers than I do, but she kills it just as much as I do. So it's all about like, what are you carrying? Is your, your personal brand awesome? Are you like on the app constantly sharing your stuff? Are you involved in the community? So, I mean, I don't really care how many followers you have. If you're awesome enough, you're gonna make some sales. So,
I agree on that because I don't think I have nearly as many followers as you guys do. So I'm surprised at how I'm here. I think, the aesthetics of your closets is very important. You only have a few moments to really catch a buyer's eye, and if it's something that, they're not as attracted to, then they'll just pass and go on to the next closet. So I think it's always important to have, good, clean lines, good lighting, kind of making it your brand. Your closet's essentially your store, so keeping it updated at all times.
So building relationships is pretty crucial to keeping your customers. What ways are you guys making connections that matter with your clientele?
Yeah, I think relationships really matter. Obviously you're going to have some of those Poshers who are just looking for that certain pair of shoes and they don't want the relationship and the conversation. That's totally fine, but that's the beauty behind Poshmark is that it's a social selling site. So you get to have that, those fun conversations with people. But there are some specific things that I do to try to encourage people to come back to my closet. I gift wrap everyone's order, so I kind of have my own little thing of green and white tissue paper, a unique ribbon, and then I put a fun little business card with a future discount if they decide to come back, and then a handwritten note on the back, and just try to keep it like simple, thoughtful, and cute. And that way, I do have a lot of repeat customers. They're always like, oh, this is from Crazy Posh, and it's just like the same every time. And then, of course, I let them know when I ship. I always try to ship the next day, if not even the same day if possible. And then, yeah, just thanking them when they give you a rating, just letting them, because we wouldn't be here if it weren't for them. And then one of the things that I think is kind of really cool to do is I have people looking for specific things, and if I don't have that item, I try to just spend like 5 minutes and go to just like search Poshmark and try to find that item for them, and then tag them in other people's listings and stuff. And not only is that hopefully helping another Poshmark with a potential sell, but you're showing that person that you're not just in it for the money, that you're in it for to make them feel good and to help them out, and they're going to remember that.
By the way, I made a $550 sale because she tagged somebody on one of my listings, so she's not kidding. Like, she really does do this, and it's really nice.
It's
so,
fun. Like, that's
yeah.
super cool. I was like,
I was excited when that happened, so thank you. That's awesome.
That's great. Anybody else using any tips or anything they're doing to keep
Well,
their
I
business?
send a personal thank you note, and I wrap it up nice and put ribbon. And people really appreciate a personalized thank you note. And then I put a piece of swag. I've had little tape measures like they do have over there, hot pink, and it says Poshnista on it. And I have pins that says Poshnista and posting notes that says Poshnista. So I'll stick something like that in there for them in a little mesh bag. And I have an affirmation card that I buy these cards. Some kind of call them witchy cards. I don't think they're witchy cards. They're like, you are powerful, you are beautiful, whatever. And a discount, a future discount like you do, Kelly, on a piece of paper. And people like to use those discounts. When they're buying again, they say, oh, I'm a repeat customer, give me the discount. I'm like, no problem. So I personalize it.
Great. Jacqueline, something you mentioned to me that kind of stuck with me is that if you get less than 5-star rating, you ask for some honest feedback so that you can do better next time. I love that. How has that worked for you?
I mean, the feedback is so important. Like I said, most companies don't get the opportunity to get the one-on-one feedback immediately. So I always know if they're looking for something specific or they didn't like something, then it's a trial and error. But if they're looking for sweaters, and I'll stock up on sweaters, and I'll tag them and say, hey, I got some sweaters for you, and they really appreciate that and they remember that. And they're like, wow, and you become like their personal stylist or shopper.
So, Cindy, you're currently managing 3 closets, and I also heard a rumor that you have purchased a truck that you are remodeling to become a fashion truck that you can sell. How do you manage it all?
I don't sleep. I have girls that work for me in my, I don't want to say the wrong word, my job. We've been together for like 10 years. We started out at a small office, we went to a call center, now we're at a smaller office, and so they help me, they pitch in, and I give them free clothes. Women love free clothes. And, and I have girls that model, and I give them free clothes. And with the truck, I'm in negotiations of buying the truck. This guy's hardballing me, and I'm not having it. And so and then I've got help that's going to help me shrink wrap it. I've got lots of ideas in my head, and I'm about to buy a day spa. I'm going to put myself to school and become a laser tech. And, and I'm young, I got time. All of us, we could do it. We could do anything that we want to do, and there's a lot I want to do. I was talking to a young lady last night at dinner that my main goal with the fashion truck is I'm going to work out the kinks. There's lots of mistakes to be made in this business, I'm telling you, and I already did a talk on things not to do. And and it's very important. I love to share my mistakes because I don't believe you need to make them, but I wanted to get a truck, and I want to personalize it, and I want to work out the kinks, and then I eventually want to have 5 different layouts where I could sell this, like franchise it. I don't even know if I want to franchise it, but I want to empower and put women in business. We need help. And I want to show women how to do it, and I'm going to do all the mistakes, and you don't have to do it. That's what I want to do.
So on that note, what one tip would you give to the women here in this audience growing their fashion business?
Persistence, consistency, and love what you do, and do not be in love with what you sell. That's my advice.
My piece is a little more, that's amazing, but more practical. I think what I learned from Poshfest last year to now I came back and was just kind of looking at all my listings and wondering why some things weren't selling, and then I look at the picture and it's absolutely horrible. And so I've just learned that the cover shot is like your make it or break it. This is where you're going to sell the item or not. And so I just do some simple things, like I found the room in my house that gets the most light, brings in, I flood in the natural light, open up the curtains and the drapes, and then we have a really dark wood floor, which isn't a great backdrop for a lot of things for a flat lay. And so I went to like Joann's Fabric and I bought this white piece of furry fabric that's really cute, just like to have that clean slate, that's, attractive. So, and just use natural lighting. I never use artificial light. So those are just some simple things that I've learned to do. Or go outside my front yard and take pictures of myself wearing shoes, and my neighbors think I'm absolutely crazy. Yeah. But it's kind of fun. And so in those pictures outside of my front yard with shoes on and stuff, I'm telling you, they sell like hotcakes because the light. And then one last thing is just make sure your camera is really good. So I use that iPad, so if you need to upgrade your phone soon or something, just make sure your megapixels are high because you want your cover shot to stand out, and those, that makes a difference.
Thanks. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I am feeling super inspired right now. I feel like I need to get off and go take some cover shots right now. We have a few minutes for questions. Does anybody have anything they want to ask? We'll bring a mic around. Here we go. It's coming right here.
Hi, I have a question for those of you that do wholesale, because I just recently got my wholesaling license, and I'm just curious what kind of investment initially you need to make to sort of purchase, I guess, inventory.
I think starting small, always start small. Purchase something. That was sort of my mistake initially. I think we had something similar. And also she said, just because you like it doesn't mean other people will. You have to kind of think about what the average person might like. Oh, I'm sorry. So just because you like the item doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a great seller, and that it'll appeal to the masses.
Quick recap on what she just said is she said start small and don't purchase things just because you personally love them. Yeah. Any other questions?
How about here in the back? And Emily, just so you know, I know you're asking maybe for a specific amount, you can literally start with like $100 to $300. So it's not like you have to think, oh, I'm putting $2,000 in. So just to be more specific.
Thank you.
I love the bundling factor, but I've made mistakes too. 4 pairs of jeans, 2 pairs of shoes, and then I have to pay the extra weight. So I'm not sure how you can know ahead of time when you don't know exactly what they're going to bundle, that you don't get stuck paying $20 for the weight of the box. Is there any way we can know ahead of time about the bundling weight factor?
I don't know the correct answer to that. We know it's going to be over 5 pounds. That's what we pay for. I personally literally work, my post office is right there where where Amanda is, and I always try closet names, but I have made really good relationships with the post office. I have never paid overweight. I have mailed 72 packages at one time, and there's some big boxes. And why that happens is because I go in there every day and I say, hey, how you doing? I bring my iced tea or a coffee. I have a popcorn machine in my office. I bring them over popcorn. It's about building up relations, because if you've got the USPS people in your pocket, it's like gold. I'm telling you. And when I know something's really heavy, I'm like, oh, you can just scan it with the gun. I know I'm going to take up the line, just scan everything with the gun, which means you don't get a receipt. I don't care. I know it's scanned. I've watched it being scanned, but they don't charge me ever for overweight. I do have one more thing, a piece of advice for everybody. If you have a lot of inventory, I woke up one night in a nightmare that all of my stuff burned down, and I got on the phone with my insurance company and I asked them, what can I do about my inventory? I have about $30,000 in inventory. That's alive. And they said, well, let me look this into it for you. And they called it an e-commerce business. I pay little less than $700 a year. That covers $50,000, up to $50,000, and all of the equipment, and I don't have equipment, it's in my office, you know, but it will cover up $20,000 in equipment. So it's a small investment for you to look into for your inventory, and don't think that your homeowner is going to cover it all, because it doesn't. You know, ask questions.
I also think that you could ask the buyers. Sometimes they would be willing to split the bundle so that you have two packages shipped out instead of just one.
Other questions?
How about right here?
I have the mic. I don't know. Sorry. My biggest issue is taking pictures. I think, Kelly, you said taking it with an iPad. I've been using my phone. I have like 5 different apps editing, but it can take me up to like an hour because I'm a perfectionist when it comes to the pictures. Have you guys invested in certain cameras or lighting or lenses? Would you recommend?
I literally just use natural lighting in my iPad. I don't use filters. And I'm not against them. Like if I could find an amazing filter, I would use it. But and it's easy. You know, I want something easy. I want to be able to open up the Poshmark app and use it how it's, you know, laid out to do it. So I literally just try to flood in the light, open up all the blinds, and there's also grid times of the day to do that. You know, make sure you're using the window that the sun is literally shining in. You know. But.
For me, Poshmark's designed to be a mobile app, and for me, I'm always going to take my pictures on the phone because that's what it's designed to be, and it's supposed to be an easy tool for you to make money. So I personally probably won't ever invest in like buying a camera or anything like that because people on Poshmark understand that you're a person and you are the one taking those pictures. So I think maybe be a little less hard on yourself. If you're near like good lighting, you know, natural lighting through a window or whatever, and you're using like, you know, decent filters and stuff, I'm sure that your pictures are probably better than you think they are. I can't really see you, sorry. But so I think maybe be less hard on yourself, and as long as they're clear and the buyer can see exactly what you're selling, I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, exactly. When I have an e-commerce site, I would hire the photographer, the model, spend $1,000 on a photo shoot, you know, for a lookbook, and you know, with my Poshmark account, it's just me and my, you know, iPhone 6.
Well, none of us have her hot, crazy, awesome body. Yeah, I was gonna say. So she's like winning, killing it.
So yeah, I mean, it's just simplified, and you know, people like to see it on the actual person. It's real, and you know, yeah, you don't have to try too hard.
Who do we have next?
One of the things I've been purposing to do is kind of have sizes for everyone and a whole range of body types. And so I'm trying to stray away from using actual bodies to put the clothes on. And I always get questions like, will you model? Or like, I'm trying to find like an in-between. Like right now I have a lot of stuff on a dress form. I just find myself keep doing it over and over because I really want to be inclusive of all body types. But it seems like things sell better when they are on a person. I'm just kind of like figuring out what to do to make a store that sells all sizes.
I'm sort of in the same situation because, you know, I'm an extra small. I sell small to large. I try to help my buyers with the sizing and try to also, you know, they're not going to look like the way that I do on a shirt, and that's just reality. So, you know, it's hard to kind of gauge that, but I try to, you know, get their measurements and kind of give them the best advice I can. But it always does help when it's on the body for some reason.
I think for me also, I mean, I don't model most of the stuff that I sell because almost none of it is my size, but I think as far as like, if you give them the measurements and your photos are consistent, I think that's the most important thing, because I think if you have one mannequin picture and one cover photo that's from Google or, you know, whatever, and one flat, like, I'm learning this myself too. I think the more consistent you are and you provide measurements, that's really all you can do, and you're not always going to necessarily fit in everything that you sell.
For me, I have a dress form as well, and I model the smaller stuff on the dress form. But you'll be surprised. Sometimes I use a stock photo, I lay it flat, and I use a dress form. People will still ask to see it on. So you're really not going to please everybody, but I'll tell them that's not, I mean, I'm not an extra small, I can't wear it. Can you just try it on? Well, it's not going to look the same. You're not going to lose the sale, you know? And I have lost a lot of sales like that because I try to squeeze into something, or like a size 7, I'm size 9. They're like, just try it on. So I tried it. I mean, it's not going to look the same. So if I have a friend handy, I'll ask them to like, hey, can you put your foot in this boot, or can you tell me how it runs? That's the biggest thing, especially shoes that are closed toe. Well, how does this run? Does it run true to size? And For me, I'm trying to be really honest. I won't say, I'll either look at reviews online and see what other people have to say about it, or I'll go off of if I know that brand, how they typically run, but I'll tell them. I can't tell you honestly because it's not my size, and people appreciate that.
Those are some great tips. Thank you so much, you guys. Yeah.
Nice one, but thank you so much, ladies.
How about these ladies? Yes.